Okay. Hi, everybody. I am Deanna Marr. I am an occupational therapist with specialty in pelvic health, especially women's health. And today I have with me Carolin. She is with Somatics Tampa.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And today's episode on the Pelvic Wellness Podcast, we're going to talk about somatics, what it is, what it does, how it can help you, especially if you're having any pelvic floor or any chronic pain problems. So welcome, Carolin. Just tell everybody a little bit about you and like what somatics is in case someone doesn't know.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. I'm a certified essential somatics movement teacher, and I teach somatics based on Thomas Hanna. It's a re-education of your nervous system to help you release tension and bracing patterns, muscular tension patterns that can contribute to chronic pain and discomfort, or trouble walking or moving. It's basically a nervous system reset that I teach you.
That's really cool. So, and a good explanation about what that is. And I really see that. And I know that in pelvic floor therapy, a lot we work with more of the brain, body, and the nervous system. There's been a lot of talk about like vagus nerve and bringing that nervous system regulation into like therapy. So I've even been incorporating that kind of work into my pelvic floor clients, but even into my clients with like ADHD and things like that. Working. My camera's being weird, people. So I think it has something to do with how I do my hand. Yeah, that's what it is. I can't move my hands. We're gonna figure this out, and maybe we'll have some comedy along the way. But anyway, I think that a lot of people with the IC and pelvic floor therapy, a lot of them have like overactivity with their muscles. And a lot of things that we work on is trying to get people to relax and to get that mind-body connection to the pelvic floor. And having people learn to relax is probably one of the most challenging things it is in pelvic floor therapy, is learning to like relax. What's the pelvic floor? How do I relax it? How do I even know if it's tight? So one question that just came to my mind is like somatics. Like, I hear about somatic yoga. Like, is there a difference between like what you do and like, because I feel like somatic is kind of like maybe a buzzword right now. So like, can you tell just a little bit more about the difference so someone can understand?
Yes, absolutely. So if you take the word soma means body, and somatic, you can use it as an adjective that's saying it's related to the body. So a lot of people have used the word somatic as an adjective, like as you said, somatic yoga, somatic pilates, somatic healing. But what I teach is somatics based on Thomas Hanna. And it's a very different movement technique. In fact, the technique is called pandiculation. And that teaches you how to release the tension, because just like you said, Diana, it's really hard for people to just let go, so there's an actual technique, like a little small soft contraction and then a slow soft release followed by a breath cycle, that is helping people let go, which is essentially what you want. It's not that the muscles are weak where you may have some pelvic floor discomfort or side effects. It is that these muscles are turned on all the time and they're tired and worn out, and you need to learn how to let them go. And that is what somatics teaches. The pandiculation, this whole movement practice, was actually developed by Thomas Hanna to release tension. So that is its main purpose. That's why it is so effective.
Great. So many of my patients experience the pelvic floor overactivity or gripping patterns, global tension. So how does somatic help with unwinding these patterns?
Yes, so somatics always takes a whole body approach. So even if we want to target the pelvic floor, we look at the muscle systems that are connected and we work around the area and basically teach you how to connect the pelvic floor to the rest of your movement patterns, to your body, and teach you how to release and soften so that you can let go.
Okay. Did you want to go over the different?
So Thomas Hanna categorized 3 different stress response pattern. One is called the green light reflex, which is basically when the whole backside is tight. It's your back, it's your glutes, it's the hamstrings, it's your calves, even plantar fasciitis. And then he developed a movement practice specifically to address those stress response pattern. Then there is the red light reflex, which is the front of the body. This is where we kind of are anxious, where pecs are contracted, the belly is shortened, and the pelvis might be pulled out of alignment. And that's kind of the front of the body where we hold a lot of tension. And then he has categorized the third categories, the trauma reflex, which is usually a response to an injury or a one-sided habituated stress response, like carrying the baby always on your right hip or the purse on your left shoulder, or you're sitting at your desk, so things like that, habituated stress responses. So these are the 3 categories. And then, as I said, you develop movements that target these particular stress response patterns to gradually, softly, and gently release them with movement.
Nice. I mean, I totally understand the trauma reflex, like the habituation, because I've, my neck has always done like wearing purses and stuff on one shoulder. Like,
yes.
Hello, camera. All right, there you go. Like my nest, I now wear either hold it, like a handle type purse, or wear a crossbody bag to help instead of having the pressure all on one side. So, but still, I feel like, I need to work on softening and relaxing, because I've had surgeries, I've had open heart surgery, I've had hysterectomy. So the fascia, it all interconnects. The different, there's several different lines of fascia in the body. It's all interconnected, and it can pull things. You can have a surgery in the front, and you can have more back pain in the back because the fascia is pulling things out of alignment. So, somatics is a great adjunct to any type of therapy because, a therapist, we can do myofascial release and work on the fascia to help let go. But then using somatic movements and, they can help to re-educate the brain and continue the body to learn those habits and patterns outside of therapy, because that's really the end goal. Pelvic floor therapists, we can do our hands, we can do the exercises, we can give you all the education, but it's all in the follow through, and that's really what changes people's lives, and they have a better outcome is what they're able to follow through with at home, and really learning that breath, body, that the nervous system is so important, to have the best response and recovery with therapy. So,
and somatics is a beautiful self-care technique that once you learn the pendiculation, once you internalize it and you learn how to let go, you can use it whenever you need to. And you can't avoid stress. You'll always wear a purse or have to carry the baby. But the key is to be able to get out of that response pattern so you're not stuck. And that's what exactly somatics teaches you. And you become aware of when you are tightening or tensing. And once you're consciously aware of where you're holding tension, you can do something about it. But that's the other thing that Thomas Hanna mentioned is the sensory motor amnesia, is when you're not even aware that you're tight, that you're holding tension. And that's probably why some of your patients can't let go of their pelvic floor, for example, because they don't realize it's tight. They're not realizing that they're holding tension. So it's kind of like you create an awareness for it, and then you teach how to release it. And then when you feel yourself tightening up, you become consciously aware, and you can either stop yourself in your tracks, or you can do a movement afterward to just release it when you no longer need to protect yourself with a bracing pattern.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So like, really having like a home type program or self-care, and start looking at it as what am I doing for my body that's going to help me and keep me like feeling good about myself. Taking time. I think moms, women in general, we don't always, we're always last, because we always have to take care of the kids, go to work, the husband, partner, so sometimes it's hard to just make time. And I always tell my clients that, I might give you like X, Y, or Z home program, but I always tell people something is better than nothing.
Yes.
So like, even if you can get 5 minutes, and that's going to do a world of good for you versus, doing a 30-minute program like every day. The point is that doing something will always be better than doing nothing, and your body will thank you, for it. So Carolin, can you like walk through an example of a type of movement that someone might do to help release pelvic tension or any chronic tension?
Yeah, just to kind of you get an idea of this. If you want to lie on your back on the floor or on a yoga mat, it's firm surface is usually best, so you don't want to do this on your bed. Just kind of release, your just come to a relaxed state, and then bend your knees so your feet are flat on the floor and your knees are bent, and knees and feet are about hip width apart. And then just start gently and slowly contracting your belly. And you may notice even that your lower back flattens a little bit onto the mat. And then just take 3 times as long as you were taking to contract that muscle to let go, and just breathe. Just take 3, 4 nice big breath cycles and gradually soften the belly, just letting it relax and letting it go. And then you take another breath cycle and you just check in with your nervous system and see if there's anything else that you're still holding on to or bracing, and see if you can just turn that off. And you just repeat that a couple times. So that's like the very beginning that we usually do, is like a gentle flattening of your spine just by gently engaging your core, and then in slow motion releasing it. So that's kind of how I actually begin most of my classes, and even my own personal at-home practice, with a gentle arch and flatten and releasing of my torso.
So in our go society, I mean, that to me, like, you really emphasize the slow part, right? So it's not something that's like, you can be in a hurry up to get done.
Right. This is not an exercise program. It is also not stretching. So that's the big thing. It's basically, I'm teaching you how to soften your muscles, how to let them go naturally, how to let them melt, so to speak. And that actually will give you a bigger range of motion. It's not the stretching that will actually unwind tightness. It's the softening, the release that gives you your biggest bang for your buck.
I love how that really goes into like pelvic floor, what we work on a lot on pelvic floor. But I can see how to use it with other clients that have like chronic pain or anywhere, in the body. So
and that's actually how I found Somatics. I had chronic back pain for 6 years. I had a herniated disc, I had surgeries, and it didn't fix anything. Then I had the steroid injections, and I had extensive physical therapy, and I was always told my back is weak and needs to be strengthened. And after 6 years of that, I finally was done with it and tried to look for alternatives. And that's how I found Somatics, and I've been pain-free ever since. It wasn't that I was weak, it was that my muscles were just chronically tight. They were on all the time and I didn't know how to turn them off. So yeah, it's been a game changer for me personally.
I love that. I think a lot of people can like relate to that, even if they don't have pelvic floor dysfunction or like need pelvic floor for whatever reason. But oftentimes the pelvic floor is a driver for a lot of back pain because it's trying to um, do the work of other muscles that should be working. Like if you have a weak core, your pelvic floor or your back, those tiny, back stabilizer muscles might be firing and trying to hold on and do work for these bigger like abdominal muscles. But we don't really, know what we don't know, if we're not engaging the muscles, if we're not working out, like we may not know like what is, so to speak, normal and what's not and what's abnormal. So that's why it's also good to have an assessment from a certified professional in somatics or therapy, PT or OT, to get like an idea and a baseline of like where you're functioning. You may not need therapy at that time. Maybe you could do more like a somatic program for just general health and well-being. But at least you have like a baseline to go off of. So like down the road, you know what to look for and you can get on top of that before you have more pain or leakage with activity, because you've gotten that baseline from, a professional.
That's right. Somatics, the first step is to create awareness, body awareness, so that you can actually start sensing that you are tense or where you are holding tension or where your bracing patterns are. That's the first step. And you're absolutely right. We sometimes don't know, we're not aware. We don't know that we're holding on to certain muscle groups and letting them take over for other muscles until we create that awareness. Absolutely.
So do you have a story about someone that you have seen their pelvic floor symptoms improve using somatics?
Yeah. So, the big thing for me when I never hone in on the particular like pelvic floor. We look at the whole body. I do an assessment to see how is the individual moving. And I could see that she was holding tension for sure in her whole pelvis and her hips. She wasn't really moving her hips when she was walking. So that gave me a first clue. And then, believe it or not, we started releasing the shoulders and the hips started moving. And then that's the beautiful thing about somatics. You kind of look elsewhere. You zoom out. Oops, sorry, we're zooming this lens. But you zoom the lens out, so you don't hone in on the particular muscle group. You look at what is that group attached to, what other, you widen the lens, so to speak. And that's the whole body somatic approach. And yes, she actually, she was surprised because her pelvic floor symptoms improved, even though she felt like we were working on everything but her pelvic floor. And that's the beauty of it. When you integrate your pelvic floor into the whole body system of muscles, you get a lot better results and more clarity on your movement patterns.
Yes, that's so true. It's more than the pelvic floor.
Yes.
It's the breathing and the rib cage and even like the foot and how the foot transfers load from the ground when you're walking or running up through to the pelvis. The pelvis has to, it has pressure from the top down and the bottom up. Your pelvic floor therapist should be looking more than just at like the pelvic floor when they are working with you. So Carolin, for anybody watching this that want to like try somatics, where should they start?
Well, you can come and see me. I have an office in South Tampa, or you can get some resources on my website, somaticstampa.com. Also have an Instagram channel where I demonstrate a few movements, for free. So you can look at those and maybe just start and see if you feel a little bit of a shift if you try it at home. But yeah, just connect with me. I mean, start with the website. I am certified to teach this. I'm actually the only one who's certified, the only essential somatics movement teacher here in the Tampa Bay area. And there are actually only 2 in the state of Florida, so come see me, and I'm more than happy to, give you some at-home tips or, do an assessment, whatever it is that you would like to have done.
Awesome. And I just want to like piggyback on that, like, pairing somatics with pelvic floor therapy can be incredibly powerful, or it can be a great way to come, out of therapy and become, have a better, I don't want to say a home program, but like a self-care routine that like a maintenance type routine that you can maintain, throughout your life.
Absolutely.
So, just because you're done with therapy doesn't mean like you're done, like, with everything for the rest of your life, because I think that's one of the things that clients tend to, we get fixed, from therapy and then we're done. But the old saying, you use it or you lose it, is you can't do all this work and then be like, oh, I'm done with it, and then don't go back to it, because down the road you're going to be back at that same place where you started. So it's really important for people to know that, hey, we did a lot of great work, and your body needs, you need to continue to where you might not have to do as much of it as you were when you were like in therapy, but you would definitely, need something that's going to work for you and your schedule that you're able to maintain.
Absolutely. And the nice thing is, once you've developed that awareness, it's hard to be ignorant again. It's hard to shut your eyes from something that you're now aware that you're doing or not doing. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's true. So what's a key takeaway that you would like the listeners out there to take away from today?
I just want you to know that there's hope. So even if you feel tense or tight, or you've been living with chronic pain or chronic symptoms, there's help, and there's definitely a way out of it. And it's not as difficult as you think. It's small little baby steps, and that just, adds on to, a lifetime of awareness, and you over time will change your movement patterns and avoid certain tension patterns altogether once you start with little baby steps and becoming aware. So there's definitely help out there, and there's hope, even if things have gone on for years or a long time.
Yes, I agree with that. It's never too late.
Right.
You're never too far gone to start taking that step. And I agree with you on that. That's like what everybody needs to know. There's always hope, and you just have to take that step, and then just keep taking that step. So that's so important. So yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, like in the Tampa Bay area, Carolin is like the only somatics teacher. You do group and individual sessions?
Yes, very small group, 3 to 5 people, and then individual sessions, and then the occasional workshop for beginners to really explain the background of the movement practice for the people who want to have a little more insight into Thomas Hanna's work.
Awesome. I've taken her class. It really was eye-opening. Like, you did that little thing at the beginning where we let's see, I should have raised my hand. So okay, I'm back. Okay. Where you measured our arm length, or how far we could reach,
your range of motion.
We did it at the end, and like everybody had like a lot of range of motion changes for the better, significant after it. So like, I do know that it does work from just even the one session that I have done. So I just want everybody to know out there that somatics is a great adjunct to whatever type of therapy, even if it's not pelvic floor, if it's a hip or knee surgery, like somatics is a great add-on service. And she is here in the Tampa Bay area. So please reach out to her if you have any questions or want to schedule a session with her. Her information will be linked down below in the caption at the bottom. if you have questions about pelvic floor therapy, my information is down in the captions below. Feel free to reach out. I'm always open to answer any questions or do a consult if needed. So I want to thank everybody for listening to this episode, and we will see you on the next one.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.